If you've ever wondered what Luke was like at his prime, or what led to this very moment, I've got you covered. Thanks to Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher, we finally have a story based around the sequel era around 21 BBY. The story follows Luke as he searches for Sith artifacts and relics, troubled by a vision that haunts him. Lando, who is on a never-ending search for his missing daughter, and Rey and her parents Dathan and Miramir, who are on the run from the Sith Eternal, who not only want to find Rey, but return Dathan to Exegol. Now, if you remember The Rise of Skywalker or read the novelization, you know that Dathan, Rey's father, is a strandcast of Palpatine, so that should explain why they want him back. And along the way, they intertwine to weave a much larger narrative that's connected. We finally have a through line for Rey's childhood, leading up to the circumstances that led her to being left with Unkar Plutt on Jakku.
You'll be safe here. I promise.
Why Ochi of Bestoon was hunting her and her family.
She isn't on Jakku, she's gone.
And how Lando fits into all of it. No, you don't need to read this book to understand the sequels, but it is one of those stories that's for the people who really want to know more about the context surrounding the time of the sequels, as well as background on Rey as a character. Without spoiling anything, the book, as featured on the cover, teases the return of the Sith in a way that is both clever and fascinating. For fans of ancient lore, Sith lore, and just in general gaining a sense of direction in terms of the history of canon, this book is a treasure trove, dealing with artifacts and relics, and sometimes even going into detail about some ancient Sith. For fans of Lando who wish to know more about his circumstances and why the odd couple of Luke and Lando exists, this book is for you. If you wondered while watching The Rise of Skywalker what Lando is doing on Pasaana and why does he know about the Wayfinder.
Only two were made.
A Sith Wayfinder. Luke Skywalker came here to find one.
I know. I was with him.
This book answers that very question. I will say that the book is a slow starter. It's a bit difficult to get into at first, but if you're very interested in Rey's story, that might not be the case for you, as once you get into the second act and beyond, the book hooks you from chapter to chapter. You get to see some amazing things from Luke, Lando, and Rey and her family, and meet some interesting new characters. The prose and exposition can get a little bit heavy at times, and contributes to the book's main flaw, which is pacing. As I mentioned before, the book hooks you from chapter to chapter, keeping you guessing and keeping you wanting more, but as you progress further and further into the book, you'll find chapters broken up by long-winded prose. At those points, you find yourself just wanting to get over it so you can get to the next juicy bit, because there are some very outstanding and brilliant juicy bits. Also, the Force lore is S tier, going so far as to canonizing a long-standing interpretation of the Force that I've personally held for the longest time, and I can't help but feel validated. But I'll let you find that out for yourself, what that interpretation is. Overall, the book is a compelling and satisfying in-between story for fans of the sequels who wanted to know more about what happened before The Force Awakens and what drove our characters to where they started in the movie. Its pacing suffers from long-windedness and extraneous elaborations, but that can be forgiven for the overarching story that it's trying to tell, and it's a great story. For fans of Jedi Master Luke, Lando, Rey, and Sith lore, this book is for you. But that'll do it for my spoiler-free review of Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Star Wars content. Be sure to tune in every Saturday for Dyad in the Force at 5 p.m. Pacific to catch me and my Dyad Darth Choco talking about all things Star Wars. As always, thank you to our channel members, Dyad Squadron, without which we could not continue to make content. But of course, that's the end. On to the next one. For light and life, we are all the Republic, and may the Force be with you.